Ajita Goha-Thakurata will be the first speaker. And she has been a social science teacher in DPS Gurgaon. Later on in 1999, she moved to the US and she did her master's. I mean, I should say that she's double master's. Okay. And there she did in secondary education with special focus on the educational, technological medium where computers and all took a prime role. So, and she has worked as an instructional technology teacher with students from KG to 8 segment, where she had the opportunity to integrate technology with curriculum by using web quests, iMovies, robotics, using the Scratch language. In addition to that, she's responsible for establishing the Technology Resource Center. So we would like to have we'd like to hear from her experience, like how she has incorporated technology with the total curriculum and what are the pros and cons and how it has helped the children and the organization, the school. Then we have Megan. Hello, Megan. Megan is a graduate with a degree in elementary education from Missouri State University, and she's a very, very passionate teacher. She has experience in technical trade school and childcare and in the district level. And she will share with us her experience and how she maneuvers the challenges between this like a technology and really catering to the students, because we really need this. This is the need of the hour. Then we have Mr. Deepa. He has an engineering degree with an MBA. His passion to do something interesting for the kids made him easy so that it becomes easy. The content delivery becomes easy. So he is coming to the gamification, and he is the enabler he enables the students to make the curriculum most interesting. We will hear from him after this. And then Mr. Abhijit, he is an MBA with a vast experience in the educational sector. He has been a consultant in the United Nations Development Program and United Nations Population Fund. So he has worked with various segments of the population. And presently his focus is on increasing the learning outcome of students of the primary grades, which is very, very interesting, I should say. So now, with this, I would briefly tell about my organization, JGI. Do you all know about it? I mean, since you all are from different parts, I just to tell about JGI. It's a group established with the educational provider and entrepreneurship incubator of India. It's the dream of a founder chairman, Dr. Chanraj Roychan, to fuel economic growth and sustainable improvement by developing a new generation of educational innovation. And this, like he has left no stone unturned to do that. His journey started in 1990 with just 6 teachers and 36 students, but later on, it flared up into 85 educational institutions, 50 companies, and 100 incubation centers, and over 6,500 employees. So in these 3 decades, he has reached the height. His dream to provide sustainable quality education has resulted in international schools, heritage school, public school, different categories of school, and with the state-of-art sports school, where the criteria is you have to be very good in sports. Yes, academics is important, but not of prime focus. And we have our footsteps in Karnataka mainly, Andhra, other than that in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. We are also very proud to be supported by the Rutgers Business School alumni, Mr. Vishal Chanraj is the director of the JGI Ventures, who help us realize our dreams. With this, Aparajita, I will just hand it over to you to take it off from here. Is it fine?
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. And I would like to thank Madhumita for this opportunity. I'm really excited. I have been a teacher in India. It's been a while, though. It was 1999 when I moved to the US. And things have changed radically for both India and for both myself. So today I would like to touch on the topic of internet safety and some of the useful websites which I use in my everyday school life. So I was a technology teacher for a period of 9 years, and now I do teach bilingual education. But I do, I try to mix and match technology, which I think you needed in every subject. So my big attempt is to kind of merge technology with any subject you would be teaching. So my focus today would be mostly for teachers and parents. um, I don't know if you have any students logging in today, but if anybody can benefit, and there is so much out there in the internet. I don't think there is a dearth of information, but just that, what is important, what do we need to sieve out, what do we need to focus on. That's going to be my little talk today. I have a lot to share, but I don't think there's that much time. So I'll try to put everything into 6 main points. I will also share a document with you with all the different websites which I do use and which our school uses on a daily basis. So if there's anything more you want information about, I'll surely be there. But today I'll just give you a brief overview. So the whole idea is to let's guide our students how to stay safe online. I seriously feel that we as a generation have we are digital immigrants. We're not digital natives. We weren't born. I was not born into the internet era. Okay, I never saw a computer growing up. So we come from a different generation, and it's like immigrants. They never lose their accent. Perhaps I've never lost my accent. So same way. So the students they're digital natives. They know 100 times more than you and I. They have the capacity to learn things so much easier than we do. So as a generation, we are kind of the typical immigrant who's not lost their accent. So that's my thought. That's where I come from, and I actually learned how to use a computer once I moved to the US. No computer in India. That was 99. Yeah. So moving on, there's a few things I just wanted to touch base on. I have 2 adult children, and I have gone through the whole technology saga with them in the US. But there's few things that I have learned. And, as a teacher, I feel learning is always ongoing. You never fail to learn. So first thing is I'm actually going to share my screen. Is that possible? Is there any way I can share my screen?
There's an option in the bottom to share the screen.
Yeah, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing. So if you can actually go to share screen, at the bottom it'll say everybody can share their screen.
Yes, 1 second.
Yeah, if you can enable that.
Please try now, madam.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Can you see? Is this better?
We're able to see, ma'am.
Okay. It's gonna take a little while. Yeah, you go. You can see it, right?
Yes.
You can see this? Okay. So I'm basically going to be talking about internet safety and some useful websites and how we can keep our kids, safe online. The first thing I'm going to be touching upon is how to help students to reflect on technology use. How can students use media in healthy ways that give them meaning and add value to their lives? Now, we see that the world is overflowing with digital media and technology. There's so many games, there's streaming services, and our job as teachers and parents is basically going to be to lead students to a place where they can reflect on their own media use. Give them tools so that they need to think critically about how digital media affects our communities and overall societies. So we have this thing about saying, oh, our kids are like so addicted to their device, right? I don't really agree with that, because one big thing is like it's not an addiction. What is 1 hour is too much for somebody, maybe 3 hours is too much for somebody else. So, defining it as an addiction, I think is kind of, going a little too far. You set the barriers for your students or for your children, and that would give them the guidelines, guide them through it. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, what we do online, I'm trying to talk on a more emotional level, like, when you have students, using technology. Is it the screen time? Are we babysitting? Is it only like the time you're giving them to spend, like, here's the free time you have, spend it on technology? uh, is that something which is important, or is it the quality time? So I feel we need to teach our kids how to use technology in a balanced way, use the time meaningfully, and see how media can contribute productive. It can be like a productive use of media, not just with wasting time on games and spending time. So that was the emotional sector for it. It's never too early. You can start in kindergarten, first grade, start making them think about, what exactly is important in life. The second thing I want to talk about is protect personal information, especially with these times of COVID-19 lockdown. So many students, most of the world is online now. So we need to learn how to, learn and help students how to protect their personal information and gain a deeper understanding of their data privacy. Like, what does it mean? Do we share our names? Do we share our addresses? Is it okay to share a phone number? So simple things, but you can have that conversation with your students or your own children and give them that information, because you're sharing information with friends, with the public, application providers, so much information out there, right? It's a natural, healthy thing to do. It can lead to positive connections. It can lead to personal growth, definitely. However, we also know how, the risks are there, and students need to be aware of, the potential harm, consequences. Talk to them about identity theft. Talk to them about phishing. Talk to them about email scams. I feel these are things which are really important. We think that, oh, our kids are not going to understand, but I feel it's really, really important to kind of give them a feel of what you would not share on the street. Don't do it online. The third thing I wanted to talk about is digital footprints. You students should be considering what they are posting online. Especially teenagers, tweens, they start sharing content, engaging with others online. But it's really important for them to understand that the tracks they're leaving behind are going to go really far. When you're looking for a job, people actually do, they look at your online presence and what you have online. So if you've really shared something on Facebook or any of these online platforms, people look at it. And as far as I know, if once you apply for a visa for the US, they actually look at all your social media footprints. So I think parents can guide kids towards creating this kind of a footprint. Be a role model yourself. Don't do anything which you don't want your kid to do online. Use privacy settings. And one good idea is to search yourself. Search yourself and see, what is there out there about me, which would be meaningful, which is actually I should be taking it off. So make sure these are things you teach your students, you are talking to your own children about. Okay, the next thing is risky online behavior. Now, I don't know how much schools and educational institutions are open to talking about in India. But as students grow up, they learn to communicate online independently, and how much is safe and how much is not. I don't know if teachers are having that conversation with their students. So whether it's sexual predators, whether it's grooming, are we having those conversations with students? Are we comfortable to have those conversations? So my rule of thumb is, if you're not talking to a stranger on the road, please do not communicate with strangers. Follow real life rules. So that's one of the things which I think is really, really important. Start early. Online bullying. This is another issue which students take on tough topics and play active roles of upstanders. Now, what is an upstander? Upstander is where a student would actually stand up for somebody being bullied, right? And build up a positive, supportive online community, right? So it's important that we build up empathy, a culture of empathy. We build up sensitive, not given to hate speech. So we need to encourage students to take up an active role of, coming up with the compassion and the courage to combat online bullying. Now, bullying can be a very small thing in the beginning, but as we know, it just grows, and we know instances of where students have actually committed suicide. It has taken on a very, very like a bad turn. So this is something we really need to take care of as teachers, as parents, as early as possible. The next thing I would like to focus on is develop critical thinking. Here's one thing which I find so lacking among students. I teach middle school, and this is one thing that I feel that we really, really need to focus on. It's really essential that students learn to think critically about the news media, what your parents are watching, what you are watching online. May not be the best source. So it's really important that we teach students how to identify, evaluate, use information effectively, use credible, newsworthy sites, and help students to use their favorite news and media sources more effectively. Now, one website which I find really, really important is Newsela. It's spelled Newsela. I have it in my list. So if teachers want to actually, merge or incorporate news articles, have a discussion about what's happening in the world today, this is a good website. It's child friendly. It's the reading ability is according to their Lexile level. So this would be something really important, which I think teachers and parents could take a look at. The next thing I wanted to talk about is some of the useful websites I do use are Common Sense Media, Kahoot, Flipgrid, Scratch, ReadWorks, and Virtual Journeys. Now, I'm just going to give you a slight, introduction to each one. Common Sense Media talks about internet safety, and if parents need to familiarize themselves with technology. Now, this is a must. If you don't know what your child knows, that's a problem. All right. So you need to know what Minecraft is, what is TikTok, what is Snapchat, what is Instagram, what are these things that your child is looking at, right? So you need to familiarize them. Keep your computer in a place which is accessible to you, like you can take a look and see what your child is doing, right? So this website is basically on internet safety, gives you little explanation about everything to do with technology, anything you wanted to ask. So take a look at that. Kahoot is something which is like a quiz, which students can make themselves, or which teachers can make themselves. It's a good, fun quiz website where they can log in and use it. Flipgrid, the third one, is they can record a small video. So this is really useful for students who are very shy. So you could have a question set out for the classroom, and they could actually make a small video and answer that. And so I use this a lot with my ESL bilingual students who are very shy to talk in the classroom. So they just send me a little video through Flipgrid. All right, Scratch is a coding website where, again, very innovative, very creative. They can make their own little games. I think it's Java enabled. So just take a look at that. This is through MIT. It's really good website. ReadWorks is a bunch of reading small passages with question answers, which the students can, use. It has audio. You can check their work right online. So it's really useful for both teachers and students. And the last one is my favorite. You have virtual scavenger hunts, where they can actually go to, for example, you can go to the Baltimore the aquarium and then just kind of go through the whole thing. They have a scavenger hunt. It's real good fun, right? Okay. For math, I would think Khan Academy is a really solid site where you can track your students, your own children, and of course, Prodigy. Prodigy is like they practice a lot of math. So these are the math ones, and then I just spoke about this, how parents need to familiarize themselves. There's a bunch of monitoring software which parents can look at, but I feel Google Safe Search is good enough. You really don't have to pay tons of money to kind of monitor your students. Yep, that's about it. So I'm going to stop sharing right now. And at this point, I just want to, I think I can add a file from here, right? So I'm just going to attach a file. So if you want to share it with your parents and teachers. This is a bunch of websites which we use in school. So if that is of any use.
Yes.
It'll be digital learning resources.
I will post it in the Facebook pages, madam. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks for your help. Yeah.
Thank you, Aparajita, for sharing your experience, and it was really good because, like, we can monitor. And the other part, what I liked is that the videos where the children those who cannot speak out in the classroom, they can just tell and put. That's really good.
Yeah, it's called
the other one that you read on that what you said. I think that will help for Indian children to develop their spoken English skill.
Absolutely,
where they can read and do.
Yeah, so ReadWorks is something I use a lot. It has audio, so for students who are struggling with reading, they can listen to the audio and then they can actually read along. And there's a bunch of questions, comprehension questions, which they answer. And for as a teacher, I want my corrections to be really easy. Give them immediate feedback. So that is really good. So ReadWorks, it's free. That's another thing. I don't want to pay for anything. So that really helps the child to get the feedback. Oh, I got an 80%. I got a 90%. I'm improving. so they can see that immediate feedback. I think ReadWorks is like a go-to all the time. Like that's one of my favorites. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good, good. Thank you so much. Now we'll listen to Meghan. We will listen to Meghan like as a young teacher. See, we are all veteran teachers having 23, 24 years of experience, more than that. Meghan is a very, very new teacher, and the challenges that she is facing right now. She has just entered the job scenario at the job arena, and then this pandemic, and then a lot of challenges, and then how she's devising ways to come out of it is what she will share with us, which will help our teachers, our parents, and also our students. They should know that what the teacher face. Okay, so Meghan, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you. So like Ms. Madhumita said, I'm going to be talking about how COVID has been affecting teachers, families, and children. I'd like to start with teachers. I know at least in the state of Missouri, if we are going back to school, as my school will be next week, we are required to wear masks in the classroom. They won't let us in the school building without them. Both teachers and children have to wear them. They aren't letting children out of classrooms anymore. The only time they get to leave is for bathroom breaks. There's no recess, there's no lunch breaks, there's no extracurricular. And we all have to social distance in our classrooms and keep everything extremely clean, which means that certain resources such as our textbooks are things that students won't be able to touch during the day. And once a textbook or a read aloud book or any other material is used in the classroom, it gets put away for 72 hours so that it can be disinfected and cleaned before it's reintroduced to other children so that nothing gets spread. So some of these changes are going to make it very difficult as a teacher, because not having those extracurriculars such as art and music and PE mean that teachers don't have their lesson planning time. We're now responsible for in-classroom recess, and that's going to be a very large challenge for us. Another challenge is for families, as I'm from the Liberty School District, and they still haven't decided if they will be opening this fall. If they don't open, a lot of parents with both parents, mom and dad, mom and mom, dad and dad, who both work, what are they going to do with their elementary school children who can't be left home alone all day and don't have older siblings? So for school districts to decide if they're going back into session has been very difficult. And if they do, again, teachers have to be prepared for all of the changes in the classroom, or they have to be prepared to teach online again. Now, online learning is also difficult for our students. I am currently a senior in college getting ready to start student teaching, and a lot of my lesson time with children has been moved to online. I don't have that face-to-face interaction, so I can't practice my skills with assessment. I can't do my lesson plans with kids and receive feedback on it. A lot of what we've been using is Flipgrid and other recording websites so that we as student teachers have an opportunity to record our lessons so that our teachers can grade them, because we need to be familiar with the online format in case we don't have the opportunity of working with our children. I'm so sorry.
So Meghan, what I understood is that you're like the schools will reopen, and as soon as schools reopen, you will be like bombarded with a lot of challenges, particularly maintaining this social distancing and then keeping the children safe. So, well, in coming 2 months, I don't think so that will be very much in India when we are going to reopen. We still don't know, but this is a valuable, take, because definitely, see, if we don't reopen within a month, maybe 2 months or 3 months down the line, we have to open, and COVID will not vanish like a magic, is what I understood. Even though vaccinations and whatever is happening, it can happen, but we have to keep ourselves safe. So, well, this keeping the textbooks for 72 hours and then do the corrections and all that, this is really challenging. So we all have to sit together and brainstorm to find out a way. Or maybe we can, some innovators can get some devices where textbook can be just put into that machine and brought back, so it will be totally disinfected for us and for the children. We don't know what science is having in store for us. But this is really nice. This is really nice. And how do you think your children will cope? Like, because it's all together after 2 months of lull, 2-3 months of children did not go to school. Suddenly they go to a building, the school, which is totally very different. I mean, it looks same from outside, but once they enter the class, the total thing is changed. So how do you think they will adapt?
I know that personally, I'm working in the North Kansas City School District starting next week with second graders. And I know that one thing we have to do every morning now is have safe talks with the children where we explain to them that they are in a safe environment. We are taking all of the precautions necessary to keep them and ourselves safe. Just reassuring, especially the younger children who don't quite understand what's going on, that you are safe. We understand that you're scared, and if you need someone to talk to, we are here for you. But it's also looking at how to move things online in case we get shut down again, which could very well happen, or just keeping limited contact, because I can't sit 2 feet from a child and do a reading assessment with them. So it may be using things such as recording devices so that I can listen to them read their book and grade them and figure out where I need to be able to support them. But it will also affect the children because they won't have that recess or their gym time where they can't burn off their extra energy. And so as a teacher, it will be so important for us to plan our lessons so that children are up and moving and they're not sitting in the same position all day, because that gets boring. And as a second, third, fourth grader, I don't want to be stuck at my table all day, and they shouldn't be either.
This will be a real challenge, because those children with their energy, and then even though you have a lot of plannings to make them move around, you have to keep in mind that social distancing factor, so that your movement has to be arranged in such a way where they don't come close to each other. And a child missing the personal touch, and a child missing they want to be together, they want to play, they want to hold hands, they want to hug each other. So all that will be a no for them. I mean, the coming few months at least. So let's see how it takes off. Okay, so now we will have Mr. Deepak and Mr. Abhijit. Aprajita, here I would like to tell you, you spoke about Prodigy. So Mr. Deepak and Mr. Abhijit is both from the Prodigy gamification. So they will talk about this gamification, how Prodigy does it. I mean, basically they will talk about gamification, how it has helped the children. Maybe one liner they will talk about Prodigy later on. Let's see.
Yeah, I have to tell you that my students love Prodigy. And
really, that sounds great.
Because it seems like, out of the textbook, more like a fun thing. They can go on, they can play their game. Yeah, they love it. Yeah.
Yes, Megan said that the outside the ground, playing outside in the ground will be no more now. I mean, for temporarily it will be suspended. So some sort of game, but then again we have to look into the health factor, the eyesight and the screen time. That all we have to keep in mind. So let's see how the post-pandemic era looks like. Okay, so Mr. Deepak and Mr. Abhijit, you just can share your experience of gamification now.
Sure.
Later on, we'll take the questions, because I have some questions coming up from my teachers and principals. So after this gets over, I think I will address the questions. Is it fine?
Yes, that's completely fine. Thank you, Madhumita, for inviting us, and thank you, Aprajita, for setting the stage for me, because most of the things that you spoke, I wanted to address that not only, there's just not learning, but you have to, students must learn critical skills, 21st century skills, which is very important. Not only rote learning will help students, but what other things that they can learn apart from their books, apart from their core curriculum, what life skills that they can learn. And so my agenda of today is to talk about game-based learning and how game-based softwares or activities that help students to achieve all these 21st century skills. So here what I'll do is I'll share my screen, and I hope it's visible to everybody.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So, talking about game-based learning and talking about the classroom learning, what used to happen and what majority of schools that learning happens is a one-way communication between the teacher and the student, where teacher is talking a lot in the classroom. She is just explaining the concept. Uh,
Abhijit, just 1 minute. I would like to interrupt. I would like to inquire that is the screen visible to all of us? I mean, I can't see it actually.
okay, one second.
I think Sashwat sir has to help us.
Let me share it again. Is it better?
Yeah, this is better.
Now it is.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Sorry about that. My mistake. So I was saying that how learning happened in the classroom and what is happening in most of the classrooms is that there is only one way communication in the classroom, where teacher is just giving the concepts and students are just writing notes. There's no two-way communication, and students are memorizing the concept. Classroom is disengaged. One size fit all approach is being taken care of in the classroom, where all the students, where there are 20 students or 50 students in the classroom, one approach is being taken, which does not help students, right? And going forward in this 21st century, a student needs other skills apart from just rote learning and memorizing the concept, because it's not just about the marks, but it's how they well define themselves, so that they, when they are growing up, when they are going for their jobs, they are ready for that. And right now we are in a competitive market where students need those skills. Students need critical skills, life skills, where they analytical skills, real life problem solving skills. These are the skills that they need right now. And they need a differentiation approach. Not all students are at same level. Not all students understand same kind of pedagogy. They need different kind of engagement in the classroom. They need interactive classroom, so students can also ask questions, they can share views, they can they can have arguments, healthy arguments in the classroom, so that they build their character in the classroom. They need to be confident when they are in the classroom, so that they can speak to their peers, they can speak to the teachers. Apart from that, they have to learn the concepts also. But just by rote learning, I don't think so they will be able to understand the concepts. They need to apply their whatever they're learning in the classroom, they need to apply in the real life situation as well. Maybe they are learning mathematics, but if they are going to a grocery store, but they're not able to count the things that their parents are buying, I mean, that's where we are failing them, right? They need to have reasoning skills, critical thinking, and these are all the 21st century skills that a student needs. And so that's why there are so many schools and institutions now approaching towards more open curriculum, where students can learn, students can make sure that they are interactive. One of the ways of putting 21st century skills in the classroom is game-based learning. So if you ask me what is game-based learning, it's a type of game where there is a expected learning outcome is available. Students are not just playing a game, but they're learning while they are playing the game. So that's the fun part. They are engaged in the classroom, they are learning the concept, and they are enjoying the subject, right? Like how Aprajita said that there are different websites where students like ReadWorks. There is the voice is there, voiceover is there, so students can listen and they can talk after that, like Prodigy. So there are where students are playing game and they're learning the concept. So it's balancing the concept and the subject matter, right? So game based is another approach that parents and schools can take now at this time also, where students are learning from home. And right now, when we don't know when schools will reopen, maybe 2 months or 3 months, or maybe this year we take up, just online classes where students are just at home, and they are, learning online. Uh, what are the, like, why game based learning is there is a desired learning outcome for the students. Every aspect or every level of the game, students is learning one skill about, or one concept, whether it's English, whether it's science, whether it's math. uh, there is meaningful learning outcome for students when they are finishing up the game. They have learned one skill of that particular subject. There is contextual value. Encourage deeper learning because students are engaged in the subject so much that they want to find out more, and that's what we want in our kids, right? uh, the game is not just where they are, moving around in the platform. They are increasing their knowledge base. It's very motivating for students because they get feedback immediately, right? uh, and that's what motivates students, because as soon as they give answer, and if they get the feedback, whether it's right or wrong, but they get to understand the concept better. And when there are different characters in there, there is some, audio voices, there are the visuals. It appeals the student, and they are not just in a boring environment where one person is talking, but they are interacting with their peers, with their, teachers, with their other, friends, and they are learning the concept while they are enjoying the game. Now, why we should get into game based learning? That's very important. So it creates a differentiation, or it helps in differentiation in the classroom, where teacher can, give attention to all the students in the classroom. Students are engaged. They are learning critical skills. They're, increased comprehension and analytical skills, because they are working in a team. Their collaboration skills are increasing, and these are the skills that is required for, when they are looking for their jobs, or they are, not even jobs, but as a life skill. It's very important to have these, to learn these skills, to acquire these skills. And most importantly, they are enjoying the learning part. This is very important, because as much as they can enjoy while they are learning, at such situation where they cannot go outside to play with their friends, and they cannot enjoy the healthy environment where they are, playing with the favorite games with their friends. Here, while they are learning, and sometimes we think that there is too much of screen time, but this is a productive screen time. They are not just watching TV and, watching some cartoon, but here they are, having some interaction. They are learning the different concepts. So it's really very good for students. Now, how Prodigy gets into this picture is something that I want to talk about. So Prodigy, as Madhumita said, that it's a gamified version for learning mathematics, and it's a adaptive game-based math learning platform for grade 1 to 8. Our content is aligned to NCRT, and platform is not just for students. The whole school can use it. The teachers, the school admins, parents can also use it. So parents who are on Facebook Live, they can also, they would want to understand, when they are not going to school, how they can help their kids while they are at home. And Prodigy is across India. We are in Canada, our schools in Australia, North America. So it's been 10 years that we are in this field, and we are working with more than 50 million students now. And our aim is to help every student to love learning, and that's what is our mission is, and that's what we're aiming for in all the schools that we work with. And how do we do it is, I just want to play a quick video with you all to share how we are doing this.
Audio is not there.
Sorry.
We are not able to hear the audio of the this thing.
Okay. Maybe I'll share the link with you, and maybe you can share it with the parents later.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how to fix this right now, but let me give you a brief here. So who is it for? Is for teachers, where teachers are setting up assignments. They can, in line, when they are creating their lesson plan, they can create homework for the student, they can create tests for the students, they can create assignments during the online classes. They can give different assignments to a group of students in the same classroom, so they are catering to differentiation here. They can immediately check reports for the students. For parents who are at home and they want to help their kids while they are at home all the time, they can check their child progress through their parent account. They can assign goals for the week and for the month for their kids, and they can track their progress as well. And they when they are tracking the progress, they can appreciate their hard work of the student, how they're learning well, and it motivates students. It builds a healthy relationship at home. And for students, it's so much fun while they are learning math, where math is considered to be the most toughest subject for students, where students are they have the fear, they have the anxiety of solving math question. This is where students learn practicing on Prodigy, because they get the feedback immediately, they get to play around, and they solve math question while just interacting with their students and peers. They get incentivized for their correct answers, so they collect different things during the game, and it just engages the students a lot. So if I talk about the student experience, this is where the main adventure comes in, where it's a role-playing game where they continuously do math practice while they are in the game. For teachers, as I mentioned, is the technology is very user friendly, differentiated instruction. They can engage the parents as well, and they get real time data. So it's overall, teachers can involve all the stakeholders in the classroom: students, parent, and the school itself. This is how a teacher's dashboard looks like, where they with looking at this data, teachers can see that on Tuesday and on Thursday students are accessing more questions at home, and how they can give assignments while they are at home, and so that engage students and parents at the same time. They have their leaderboard on their dashboard, so it gives an overall picture of the classroom as well. How parents can take advantage of this is they get personalized insights about their kids. Their engagement has increased. The parents get the reports, teacher gets the report, and teacher can share those reports with the parents, and it motivates the students. So with that, I just want to say that if students are using Prodigy 60 minutes or 1 hour in a week, they can accelerate the math growth here. So with that, I'll just stop sharing my screen, and I'm ready to take on the questions that parents might have.
First, we would like to know from Mr. Deepak what he has to say. And then after the end, we will take all the questions, because I can see a lot of questions pouring in the chat. So I think let us finish off with the speakers, what they have to say. And then we will take the questions on the prioritized part. Prioritized. Yeah, is that okay?
Sure. Thanks, Madhumita. Thanks, Abhijit, for setting the context. Well, it's, I can just say that game-based learning is a very interactive way wherein you're putting you're putting your child in a stress-free environment and making the child learn without actually the child, getting to know that he's trying to learn a concept or he's trying to practice more questions, which is being taught in the classroom. Right? With this, what happens, basically with game-based learning is that it enables child to be more creative. It gives enough time for the child to think on various lines, to think out of the box. We just don't want the child to just learn or memorize the same thing that has been taught in the class. We are putting the child in a very, very interactive platform so that the child will be very excited to proceed in the game without even realizing that the child is actually learning the concepts, relearning the concept, I would say. Right? So of late, institutions are focusing a lot on game-based learning for the same reason, because it's gonna actually help child in their holistic development of the skills, right? And not being under a stressful environment. This is mainly because many students feel extremely anxious when they're put in when they're put in an environment which is extremely stressful. Even though students are bright enough, even though students are clever, we have seen wherein students don't perform under stress, and we don't want that to happen. We want students to express their thoughts very freely, and that's how we know that game is something that keeps the child exciting, and we have incorporated the curriculum into a game and making it more interactive for the child.
So are we good to go with the questions now?
Yes.
And let me just clear. We have got questions in the Facebook Live where we are almost live in 6 different pages of all the different schools. So and then I've just made sure that I've just copied and pasted here in the chat box so that it becomes easy for you people to just see it and then answer those questions. Thank you.
Yeah, and the questions are quite kind of interesting also. Very interesting questions we have got. So I'll just start with Aprajita because one question was asked by Mr. Manjunath, who is our principal of Chintamani Jain Public School, that do you really need parental control? What are the options? How it really works? Because I think he's trying to talk about instinct motivation, if I'm not wrong. That how much can a parent control and how scientifically we can do that? Because yes, we need parental control, but how to balance that is what.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think this is a really important question. As parents, I'm talking as a point of, from the parents' point of view, we've always tried to play like cat and mouse with our kids, trying to figure out what they're thinking, what they're doing, are they doing the right thing? So I personally feel that teach them young, teach them right. They will do the right thing. Now, this might sound very naive to a lot of people, saying that, how do you know? Our kids are much smarter than us in technology than, we are. What takes us forever to learn, they learn in a minute. So how do you know? Okay, so these are questions which come to me a lot. So parental controls can support you in your effort to be your kid experiences fun, safe, productive. They work the best when you use them openly. You talk to your children. Keep that openness. Figuring out what parental support or what parental control works for you is really important. Every family is different. As every family has different rules, every family has different rules for technology. So, some parents think it's okay to give their kids technology while they're feeding them, right? Whereas, for me, it's a big no-no. Like you don't have technology when we are sitting and having dinner, right? If my adult children bring their cell phones, I raise my eyebrows. I'm like, this is family time. You cannot do this. So you set your limits. You have your rules for your family. So the rules are still the same, whether it is technology or whether they are family rules, whether you live in India, whether you live in US, the rules are still the same. Whatever works for your family, make sure it works well. Make sure it does not seem like you are snooping and spying on your child, because your child is smarter than you are, and they will find a way to figure out how to work around it, right? So let's have an open conversation. Let's say, okay, you need to check the time that instead of the 5 hours of playing games, maybe you can play 1 hour of game, and I will monitor that time. So make it open, make it visible, make them understand that this is for their good. In my household, we had, at one time, the router would go off at 11 o'clock at night. And sometimes it would bother me because I would be working and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is it not working? So sometimes it does work, sometimes it does not. So make sure that you use whatever makes sense for you. Google Safe Search is an extremely free, easy. I'm cheap. I'm like, whatever is easy and cheap, it works for me. So Google Safe Search is something everybody can use. You can use your platform, your Windows, Apple, Mac OS, whatever you have. They have controls. So use them if you need to. If you want to spend money, there's Net Nanny. Do a search. There's a bunch of websites, applications which will control. They will give you exactly what your child is doing, what are the websites you want blocked, all that good stuff. It comes with money. So if you want to spend that kind of money, great, go ahead. Can your child work around it? Yes, they can, because in certain ways they know how to go around it. So find the answer which works best for your family. That's my biggest takeaway from here.
Yeah, and talk. An open conversation is very, very important.
Absolutely,
One more question I have got, which is related to this learning aspect, is that project, when you're designing a project, how can we ensure that a student does the project in a safe way? One thing, while you were explaining, you said that we have to give the websites related to the project to the child. Now, they may see that. If they don't, or like how is like any other way out of this?
I mean, one thing I sincerely believe that as teachers, we need to design our lesson plans in a more holistic way. We need to put more effort into our lesson design. This is pretty common, the backward design process. I think it's Wigan and Tigay. I don't know, Megan, if you can remember, you're a more recent graduate than I am. But basically, the backward design process is like, what is the final product? Do you want an iMovie? Do you want a video? Do you want a Photoshop, a photo story? What do you want? Do you want a game? Do you want a scratch game? What do you want to build at the end of it? Okay, I'm talking from the perspective of technology, but teachers might want a simple poster, or they want a simple slideshow. Like, I don't know what teachers want as their project, but designing a project is like really, really important, and do it backward. Like, what is the final project that you are giving them? Like, don't say, oh, do research on China or do research on Japan. Like, what exactly do you mean by that? What do you want them to do? And what is it that so web quests are great. Web quests is an old-fashioned way to describe it, but basically, you are asking the question, and as you're saying, like, what is the population of China? So you give them a website which will give them the population. You're not saying, go look on the internet, go look on Google and figure it out. Okay, so you are actually giving them a leading question. You're designing your project in such a definite way that they are not wandering all over the place. They have a specific goal in mind. And then what is your final product? So I think that designing of the project is really, really easy. WebQuest give them a bunch of websites which would lead them through that journey. And I don't know, I feel that, given the, you need to have some, I don't know, you need to give them some responsibility. You need you need to think that they're honest enough. They're not always trying to sneak around. So that's my point. Given that responsibility, they will learn.
Basically, we have to make them accountable for the project that they submit. And while designing the project, we have to give them leading questions so that they don't go haywire. They follow the track. I will ensure that they are within the path to reach the goal.
Absolutely correct. I agree with you. But what I'm trying to say is, don't give them like a vague, broad, open-ended question, which they don't know what to do. Sometimes we don't know what to do. Where do we go? So as children, I think it's really important to guide them along, give them those 5 websites or give them those 10 websites and work along with them and monitor. Today I want to see this much done. Tomorrow I want to say, don't say end of the month, I want to see a project done. Right? So as teachers, I think we need to rethink, how we give project work per se.
Sure. Yes, that makes sense. So basically a teacher has to put in more effort before giving a project and then give the project to the child so that they can be in the track and submit whatever we expect from them.
My sense is I work double hard to actually create a project, when it's a part of our, grading system is we have tests, we have, quizzes, we have this and that. The project is the most amount of work which you need to actually.
So I think our parents really need to listen to this, that puts in much more before giving a project, because always parents, sometimes they crib about, they have asked us to buy a chart paper. They've asked us to buy this color and stuffs like that. So they should honestly know that, yes, before we did all that, what went into it. Yeah, that makes sense. Fine. Megan, this is a question for you. What is the hardest part you think to maintain the social distancing in the school? This is coming from one of our principal, Madam Priyadarshini, because in this elementary school, after the school reopens, to maintain the social distancing is really, it will be very challenging. So how do we do that? After 1 month, your school will reopen, as you said. So what will you do? And
I know that we are limiting the number of children in our classrooms. We are seating them further apart, and they're combining a couple of different schools into one school.
Okay.
So I think it'll be a challenge of how to manage space so that your students can stay separate but still engaged with each other. And I think a lot of that will be affected by technology, and can I collaborate with my classmates in the classroom while wearing my mask, while sitting 6 feet apart and not touching anything?
Okay.
Because the kids are going to want to play with the masks. They're going to want to chew on them. They're going to sneeze into them, and then they're going to be wet. They're going to want to slingshot them. And we need to make them understand that, no, we need to be safe about this, but we can still have fun in school.
Okay, so you will build awareness among these little kids to how to be safer. That's the foundation of it. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, and for this elementary school, what is most challenging while you are teaching this, with this online stuff? Because see, when we talk about middle school, when we talk about high school, yes, online education makes sense. But what will this little kids in the elementary school do when it comes to online? This is a very good question from one of our principals, Saida Fabin of Gangavati.
So I worked when schools first shut down in May. I had come home from college and was working with a little boy that I nanny. And a lot of it is exploring the world around them. So he went on a picture scavenger hunt one day, and we went looking for shapes.
Okay.
He has done several writing assignments explaining parts of his day, how COVID has impacted him, and they've had them design their own leading questions for investigations that they want to do in the future. So keeping them engaged, coming up with strict guidelines for their assignments, but also making it fun, because no one wants to sit there and watch 20-minute lectures.
Sure.
So it's very short lessons with interactive pieces.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much. Now, there are lots of questions for Deepak and Abhijit. See, one question that I've got from parents is that I think because it's just a phone number getting displayed, so I believe it's from one of the parents, that if too much gamification happen, will it not addict the child towards the game itself? I mean, how much is needed?
Okay. So yeah, this
the question actually is, will it not lead to stimulation or gameplay addiction is the question.
Right. And I understand the concern here from the parent side, where too much of playing, too much of screen time or too much of addiction of the game. But there are possibilities. There are features in the game where you have parental control or teacher control, where you can set a goal for a student and set a timeline, like for everything. Like even if they are going outside for games, playing games with their friends, there is a set deadline for them that you have to come back by 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. So same thing you can do with the games as well, right? You have to set a goal, set a timeline for the students, that okay, you are sitting on either Prodigy or Kahoot or anything else that they are using. There is a set timeline for them, and they have to solve certain number of questions. So like in Prodigy, we have for parents, they can set goals for their kids for a week or for a month, that you have to solve 50 question or 30 question, and for every plan there is set timeline. So if there are 30 questions, you will spend 10 minutes a day or 30 minutes in the whole week. So you can divide the whole time for your students and make sure that they are adhering to it. Right. And what I will add here, what Aprajita said, and I really, agree to it, that there has to be some kind of responsibility and accountability should be given to the student side as well, and which I have actually used in the classroom as well, where as a classroom management tricks, where we used to give responsibilities to the students who were very active in the classroom and students who are slow learners as well. So to create the differentiation in the classroom, it's necessary that we build that accountability among the students.
Okay, so basically you're trying to say that we have to do something where the child also becomes responsible. Leave alone the monitoring part. Yes, teachers will monitor, parents will monitor. There are ways to do it. But at the same time, we have to make the child more responsible. That is the need, because see, down the line, when they grow up, they need to be responsible for what they do. So we have to teach this. This is a value education that will go simultaneously with the curriculum.
Absolutely.
Okay, see, one more thing is that why are the institutions focusing on game-based learning right now? Well, I can say that since all the school, the real time, the conventional systems, what we practiced is closed now. So we are switching off to a digital platform where keeping us healthy, safe at the same time, disbursement of education should not stop. So what is your take on this? This was my way of answering that question. So what do you feel? What's your take on it?
I agree on that. Because one of the reasons where we do not want our student to right now go out and and we have online classes going on. So there is very limited ways of engaging student during the online classes, because parents are also working at the same time, and online classes are also going at the same time. So we need engagement strategies. Now, if we just talk about why game-based learning, why not something else, is because, as I mentioned, that we need something extra, apart from just the concept learning, just the rote learning. We need those skills that need to be, inherent from the kids, is that they need real life solving problem skills, application skills. They need to apply whatever they're learning in the classroom. They need to apply those learning somewhere. They need to have analytical skills. They need to have critical skills, so that they analyze whatever they are doing in the classroom or they are learning in the classroom, they can apply. And this is one of the very creative and engaging way for the students to learn these skills. where students are engaged, they are working in the teams, where they are working collaboratively with all their friends in the classroom, and they build a healthy, engaging learning environment in the class.
One very important question which has come from my colleague, Madam Malti, that learners who wish to review the portions but do not wish to repeat the entire game, what would be the solutions for them? Like I want to suppose one full chapter, one after the other, you have done a graded sum. I mean, it was done in a graded way. Then again, I want to come back to particular one portion. So how do I? Is there an option? But I don't want to, look into the same thing while climbing up the ladder of that particular chapter. I have crossed maybe a portion of chapter 3. Second lesson of third unit. But when I'm going to revise, I don't want to see the same thing. So is there a way out?
Right. So there are two ways. Like in Prodigy, we have, so every lesson has different skills that are built in that particular topic or a lesson. So there will be 4 to 5 skills that a student learn in that particular lesson. So those skills are divided into different parts in that particular concept. So teacher can choose one particular, only say in addition, there's 1-digit addition, 2-digit, 3-digit, 4-digit. And she just want to focus only on 4-digit. She can choose that particular skill and give it to those, in fact, give to only specific students as well. Not just the skill, she can just give, out of 30 students, 15 students want to learn only 4-digit addition. She can choose only those 14 students and give the assignment to them. She can choose the whole class, or she can choose a part of the classroom. So there is that feature available on Prodigy, which you can, cater
here,
to.
actually, what she wanted to know, I mean, that's what I understood from the question. Well, the teacher has given that 4-digit addition to the child. Now the child has done it. Later on, the child himself or herself wants to revisit it, but she or he does not want to do the same type of, the same questions what she has already done. So is there option of a different thing?
Absolutely. So as I said, Prodigy is an adaptive platform. So where questions for each and every child will be different whenever they want to revisit the same skill again.
Okay. I think so. Basic questions we are done with. So it was very nice. It was very nice to have all of you here. And it was very nice. I mean, I don't have words to thank all of you because you have all shared your experience. And at the end, like what all questions the parents, the teachers, the colleagues, my colleagues had, you have been patient enough to handle everything. So we would like to have you all again on in next sessions, so that we can interact much more. This is the first cut of it, if we can say. So then let us call it off. Let's say bye to each other, and let's end this webinar for now.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
A very, very special thanks to Megan, because, I